Hello, thank you for joining us at noon. I am Hoyt. Here are the top stories we are following as we head into the afternoon. Former President Trump pushing ahead with his big announcement today. We'll hear from supporters who are ready for another presidential run and other Republicans who prefer he waits. Plus, one major candidate who was endorsed by President Trump lost her election. We'll check out how that race attracted national attention. And with more focus than ever on internet safety, are you doing everything you can to make sure you are protected? We've got a couple of tips for you. That is 6 minutes away. But first, meteorologist Nathan Scott is back from his ski vacation in the Arkansas Alps and has reports on who got the most snow. How you doing?
And that's where the winter weather happened. As expected, Rolly, it was going to be the higher elevations. Everything has moved out except the clouds. We had a little bit of sunshine out there this morning, but now the clouds are feeling their way back in here from the north and west, and that's going to hold the numbers down quite a bit. We're at 47 in the capital city, 49 in Pine Bluff, 44 in Russellville. It's still 36 though in Fayetteville and 35 in Harris. And as we take a look at the radar loop, those clouds are not producing anything that we can find. But don't be surprised if you do see maybe a few flurries flying around. Very isolated in nature. Here are the snow reports. We had one report around Polk County, about 0.2 of an inch of snowfall. But the highest amount of snow happened right across the Boston Mountains, places like West Fork and also right along Interstate 49. Those were the jackpot totals. I'll have more on those totals coming up. For the rest of your Tuesday, highs only into the mid to upper 40s with a lot of clouds in place. Sunshine will be returning as we go into the rest of the work week. I'll let you know if we'll see any warmer temperatures and our next chance of rain coming up.
Thank you, Nathan. We mentioned those political stories. Here in central Arkansas, the Little Rock City Board is getting ready to meet later on tonight. Some of the things they will go over include approving the short-term rentals ordinance. It's something that's been deferred for quite some time. And the board also plans on setting a public hearing in February to address the Central High Historic District ordinance. They've also got some other items on their agenda. We will be following it as we go throughout the day. We got a THV 11 update. 2 Arkansas men and 2 minors have been arrested after a number of thefts across 5 Arkansas cities. They all happened between Fort Smith, Morrilton, Paris, Russellville, and Little Rock. And according to the Logan County Sheriff's Office, these 4 men involved are accused of stealing 4 different cars, robbing a number of businesses, and stealing multiple guns. Dallas Hyman and Ryan Capo are being identified, but the other 2 are not because they are still under the age of 18. Former President Trump is teasing a big announcement from his Florida club and home tonight. Supporters hope that means he's running for the White House again, but some in the GOP see the underwhelming midterm results as a sign that the former president should remain just that, former. Bradley Blackburn has more from West Palm Beach.
Outside Mar-a-Lago today, supporters are already flying Trump 2024 flags and eagerly awaiting word.
You're hoping he runs for president?
I'm hoping he runs for president. That's what we're looking for.
I'm going to be making a very big announcement.
For months, the former president has been dropping hints he wants his old job back. And sources close to Donald Trump tell CBS News he intends to launch his 2024 presidential campaign tonight from Mar-a-Lago. This comes on the heels of disappointing GOP results in the midterms, with some important Trump-backed candidates losing to Democrats.
Donald Trump kept saying, we're going to be winning so much, we'll get tired of winning. I'm tired of losing. I mean, that's all he's done.
Anticipating tonight's announcement, President Biden tweeted a new ad hitting his predecessor on what's now Biden's signature legislation.
I want to rebuild our infrastructure first.
Infrastructure.
Trump also brings legal baggage to a potential candidacy, including his handling of classified documents that followed him all the way here to Mar-a-Lago and the New York Attorney General's investigation into his business practices. But there are other things Trump has that potential rivals don't. Nearly $100 million in campaign funds, a devoted base of at least 30% in any 2024 primary contest, a full digital operation with more than 50 million voter contacts, and support at state and local party levels.
He comes into this not just as the biggest name in the party, but with the biggest bank account. And that's certainly something he'll use to his advantage.
Announcing early could pressure potential GOP rivals, like former VP Mike Pence or Governors Ron DeSantis of Florida and Glenn Youngkin of Virginia, to move faster, or it could scare them off. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, West Palm Beach, Florida.
And Blackburn mentioned those legal problems. Just yesterday, Trump defied a subpoena from the Select House Committee that's investigating the January 6th attack. The president is suing to avoid testifying. Trump-backed candidate in Arizona, Kari Lake, is projected to lose that state's governor's race against Katie Hobbs. Hobbs, the current Secretary of State there. With her and Mark Kelly's Senate win, the state now has a Democratic governor and 2 Democratic senators for the first time in more than 50 years. One of Hobbs' key points while campaigning was the legitimacy of the election.
It's great to beat people who are more focused on this next election than the last one.
After media called the race last night, Lake tweeted out that Arizonans know BS when they see it. Now, under Arizona law, a recount is triggered automatically when a candidate loses by half a percentage point. But at this point, it looks like Lake will not meet that threshold. A court in Iran has issued the first death sentence to a protester arrested for setting fire to a government building. It's the first official death sentence for protests that have been going on for months. The Iranian regime said the rebels need to be taught a, quote, hard lesson, an ominous warning for the more than 15,000 Iranians currently under arrest. The protest emerged after the death of a 22-year-old and her alleged beating by the state's morality police. Human rights groups fear that a wave of execution orders may follow. Yet even in the face of these death sentences, activists have called on Iranians to take part in 3 days of nationwide protests starting today. NASA is counting down to another attempt at launching its most powerful rocket ever. With a 2-hour window opening early tomorrow morning, Artemis 1 got the all clear after being checked for major damage following Hurricane Nicole. Technical issues derailed the first attempt. The test flight will boost an unpiloted Orion crew capsule around the moon and back. All right, identity theft, bank fraud, data breaches, all the risks that come when you go online. Maybe you thought about taking yourself offline completely, unplugging, just to protect your identity. Dana Marie McNichols spoke with cybersecurity experts for tips on how you can clean up your digital tracks.
We all have our own digital footprint. It's the trail of data you leave behind when browsing the internet or posting on social media. It's not inherently a bad thing, but it can threaten your privacy and leave you vulnerable to cyber criminals. Can you totally disappear online? I took my question to cybersecurity experts. Aaron Weaver with Hack.com helps people recover their information after a cyber attack, and Dr. Mark Heckman is a cybersecurity professor at the University of San Diego.
I don't think it's possible to completely disappear. I mean, that would have to be your full-time job.
It's extremely difficult. It would be a full-time job.
Okay, so they both agree on that. They also recognize it's unrealistic because of how integrated the internet has become in our day-to-day life.
So we have to come up with trade-offs, some balance between convenience and privacy.
They both have tips on how to reduce your digital footprint and prevent companies from tracking and saving your data.
One thing you can do when you're browsing on the internet is use incognito mode or stealth mode.
With one easy click, this mode stops your web browser from saving data about you. It will disable your search history and delete login and autofill information. For further protection, they recommend purchasing a VPN, known as a virtual private network. This encrypts your data while hiding your location and IP address.
There's a lot of data collection sites. You never really know how much data they have on you, from your email to your phone number to your birth certificate.
Known relatives, all the addresses you've ever lived, jobs you've had.
Thousands of companies are collecting, aggregating, and trading your personal information without you knowing. You can request each data broker site to take down your information, which is a lot of work. Experts suggest paying for a service like Delete Me or Incogni. Another option is asking Google to remove you from search engines through filling out this form. Most websites these days come with a pop-up window asking about cookies. Should you accept or reject?
If you allow the cookies, you've just said, I'm consenting to be tracked. You can track me no matter which website I go to. From now on, you'll know where I'm going, and you'll keep that in a database someplace, and you'll have a picture of who I am and what my interests are.
If you're sharing private data like your social security number or banking information, you should reject the use of cookies. To go completely dark, you must delete all your social media accounts. But most don't want to do that. So an important tip is never go through Facebook when signing up for another app or website.
So if that app gets hacked, their Facebook will get hacked.
Always opt into using your email address with a brand new password.
You definitely want to deactivate old accounts.
Because companies could be storing things like your credit card information. Major organizations are being hacked, and now you can easily find out if your information has been stolen. Use the website haveibeenpwned.com.
Just type in your email and it'll have a whole list of all the data breaches for the accounts that you're signed up for.
And for one extra layer of privacy, you can remove your home from Google Street View. Click on Report a Problem at the top of your screen and fill out the form where you can select to blur it out.
Hackers can use any information that you have out there.
A reminder that less is more when sharing on the internet.
Dana Marie McNichols for us. A lot of people are looking at traveling for the holidays, but with rising inflation and the high costs already, it's getting harder. We'll check out those high prices coming up after the break. And Nathan?
Rolly, you're probably wondering if we're talking about rising temperatures anytime soon because it has been unseasonably cold out there for this afternoon, and it's going to stay cold, maybe a little bit warmer going into the weekend. I'll have more of those numbers coming up.